All right. Well, thanks for joining us today as we introduce the newest addition to our communicator lineup, BAT-Fire. We're excited to have you here and hope you walk away with a better understanding of this great new product and how it can be used to benefit your business. My name is Warren Hill. I am the marketing leader at Alula, and I'm joined by Dave Main, Alula's Chief Revenue Officer. Together, we're going to cover many details of BAT-Fire, why it made sense for Alula to build a commercial fire communicator, some of the pain points it can help alleviate for system integrators, a number of product details, including pricing of the hardware and services, and then we'll wrap with some Q&A. Dave, it's great to have you here. Thanks for joining me.
I always love being part of these and hearing back from our partners and our customers and really the whole market on, where we need to go next. So looking forward to it, Warren.
Right on. So we've included some Q&A of our own. We've gotten a number of questions about BAT-Fire. We've included those at the end. We'll go through those. But if you have questions along the way while we're presenting this information, please feel free to type it into the chat area, and we'll flag those questions and hopefully have some time at the end to address questions that you may have. All right. So we'll get started here. A quick intro on Alula for anyone that might be a first-time listener. Alula was formed in 2017. Resolution Products, a leader in wireless device communications, and IP Datatel, a leader in IP alarm system communications, came together and formed Alula. Our headquarters are in St. Paul, Minnesota. Our products and services are used by thousands of professional alarm dealers in the United States and Canada, and even in Australia. We offer the total solution, from the hardware that's installed on the walls to communicators that relay signals to the central stations, and from the sensors that perform 24/7 activity monitoring to the mobile app that end users use every day to interact with their system, arming and disarming, receiving notifications, viewing cameras, activating automated devices, Z-Wave devices, all those types of things. We are an end-to-end platform. Here's a look at our products and services ecosystem. I'll go through a couple of points here, Dave, but feel free to bounce in if you'd like to add anything. First off, our portfolio spans a wide range of products and services. The images displayed here show some of those products that are in our portfolio. We have a mobile app that proves to be the most common way for end users to interact with their control system. And we have a dealer portal where alarm dealers manage most aspects of their account base. We have our own wireless security and automation system, which is Connect Plus, as well as a universal alarm panel communicator that works on just about every hardwired and hybrid panel on the market, and that is BAT Connect. We have two translators, a wired to wireless and a wireless to wireless, and a lineup of wireless sensors that work with our own panel, as well as panels that are manufactured by other industry leaders. And we have a line of cameras, including an interactive doorbell camera. We do have a robust heritage in IP communications. Our panels and communicators lead with IP. They're also complemented with LTE M1 cellular technology. Why LTE M1? It's because it's 5G ready and will help us all skip that 4G sunset that's inevitable here in 4 or 5 years.
I was just going to say, if you look at this, what's interesting is not pictured on here is the product we're going to be talking about today, which is BAT-Fire. But I think if you look at this holistically, why do we have 5,000 partners? It's because we can solve problems. We can help our partners address existing accounts and installations where you might need sensors and devices that are compatible with what you've been putting in for the past 10, 15, 20, 25 years. And then we bring innovation and deliver an entire interactive solution platform. So you're going to hear about our latest entry today. But if you look at this picture and you really digest this, this is why we're building such an ecosystem of strong partners, because we're really thinking of things holistically. And this is all coming from the voice of you. We use these webinars to inform you, but we use it just as much to get your information back, to get your questions and concerns back to us so that we can address our roadmap and get the engineers working on what's going to help you run your business more efficiently.
Real good. Thanks for that, Dave. We've been developing award-winning alarm panel communicators for years, dating back to 2009 with the original broadband alarm transceiver. If you've ever wondered what BAT means in our BAT Connect and our BAT Fire and our BAT-LTE and BAT-WiFi through the years, broadband alarm transceiver. Dave, with all of the other panel communicators that we've developed through the years, why do you think it took us so long to decide to build a commercial fire alarm communicator?
Well, I think as you were describing, Warren, I mean, Alula and really IP Datatel was what the company was called in the early days, was all about innovations around the way alarm signals are communicated to the central station. And using broadband is unique in that it's sunset proof. Broadband is here forever. We're all going to have network access to our homes, to our businesses, and our properties. But as you enter the fire market, you really need to make sure you build the company so you have the right support infrastructure in place, so you have the tools to allow integrators to be successful, and that you really have a proven background. And what few people know is that we're approaching now 500,000 devices, homes and business rooftops that are underneath the Alula platform today. It's proven out that we can communicate effectively over broadband and over cellular. And you want to bring those experiences to this market. As we all know, the regulatory environment in commercial fire, I mean, Warren, you've been doing this for a long time. Most of us in this building have been doing the same thing. It's a unique set of rules and regulations. You need to make sure that you can meet those effectively. But beyond that, you need to have the tools and the back-end infrastructure to allow people to install these reliably and effectively and minimize truck rolls. And I think what you're going to find as you start to use BAT Fire is we put those tools in our platform to make it easy to configure. We've got a proven reliable network where signals can go there. We're doing things a little different in the BAT Fire world. We actually communicate directly to receiver equipment inside the central station. So in all cases, our alarm signals are transmitted faster than most others in the market and in a very reliable means. So I think all of those are kind of the background on why right now we're at a point where building a fire communicator makes perfect sense, and it's done on the backbone of, a proven history.
Yeah, great legacy here. Makes a lot of sense. Some of the common pain points that we hear from our dealer partners as we go out and talk to them about their business, and specifically here with fire alarm panel communicators, they've told us they'd like to get jobs done faster, that it can be tricky to keep up with changing regulations. Trying to figure out the right communicator to use for each job can be challenging. I know some of our competitors have multiple different communicators just for commercial fire alarm panels. They're always looking for ways to make more RMR. Everybody's trying to increase their revenue, right? They want a single communicator that can be used on every job. Simplify my life for me. The list goes on. Dave, we launched BAT Fire a little over a month ago now, and you've talked to a number of dealers. You talk to dealers almost every day, and I'm wondering, have you had conversations with dealers that have tested it or started using it? And did they provide any feedback that ties directly to some of these challenges?
Yeah, the good feedback we've had has been our approach on all of our products is to try to minimize the number of parts, the number of SKUs that are available. This simplifies things for our distribution partners. It simplifies it for you, our dealers who are out there. You're going to have the right part on the truck. So as you mentioned, Warren, a lot of our competitors might have 6 different versions of fire communicators or interactive devices. BAT Fire is a single product. It has cellular and broadband on every unit. You can enable or disable for sole path or dual path, but it's available on that product. So one piece of feedback is, I like that you really tried to put a product together that addresses all of our installation challenges. So we always know we have the right product. We know how to bid it. We know we aren't going to have any surprises. That's a big positive. But I think, you mentioned I'm talking to our partners day in and day out. Our engineers and our product management team sits right next to our tech support team. Emilio down here and his crew are taking calls. They're bringing things over on any new product. They bring feedback on a real-time basis to product management, to engineering, and we try to work through to optimize and really understand any challenges that are coming in. Most of them are training related, and then we put the tools in place to help ensure that techs can be trained. The tools in place, so there's documentation for AHJ sign off. All of those are the pieces that we're building. So I think we have a culture of listening here. We value the input, and we don't launch a product and then run away and go on to the next thing. We keep a team engaged to make sure that we can really optimize it to address the challenges you face day in and day out. We're in a sunset. We know that you're struggling to get a lot of radios replaced over the next 13 months. We're here to help you do that, and we can't do that without really staying engaged through that process.
I like what you said about we've got the tech support on one end of the building, engineers on the other end of the building, and we've got the product managers that sit in between. So between all three of those groups, we're making sure that we're addressing issues as they come in and making sure that we're producing products that that address a lot of the questions that we've got here, a lot of the challenges. Okay, so here's a look at some of the higher level features offered on BAT-Fire. Dave, why don't you take us through some of these features? And I know you like to present this information your way, so take it away, would you?
Yeah, that's a nice way of saying I don't read bullets. I just start to talk. So.
That's all right.
Yeah, when this product was designed, we tried to accomplish a few things. First off, again, from a single SKU standpoint, a single product, it automatically detects whether it's 12 or 24 volts. So that is auto sensing. You don't have to change any configuration on it. You can use it on really any fire system. Tied to that, we received not only UL 864 commercial fire, but we got commercial intrusion support. So if you have a combination panel out there, there'll often be a 12-volt panel that's fire and intrusion. We can provide connectivity for those types of products. We built this in a way that it uses what's called Cat-M1 or LTE-M. It's a cellular technology that brings some advantages. One of the advantages is it's carried and defined in the 5G world. So it runs on LTE networks, but it is the low bandwidth solution for 5G as well. And that's not defined by Alula or by the security industry. That's not defined by the cellular community and cellular standards themselves. But the other benefit it brings is it's very low current. So when you're going to put this on a fire system, whatever communicator you're replacing or had spec'd in previously, we will use less current almost every time. I don't know of others in the market, unless they're also using M1 that would be at a similar current rating. Beyond that, we have a lot of, we have dual phone line interfaces on this, so we can do tip and ring support for any fire panel that has contact ID reporting, or it could be configured for contact ID reporting. But we also have 4 programmable inputs, IOs, inputs, outputs. They're easily configured on our Alula Connect platform, and it really allows not only for communications on fire panels that might not have a dialer or might not support contact ID, but it also allows you to configure these to monitor other fire accessories, whether that's water flow, HVAC systems, not only just monitor, but potentially control. And we have a lot of documentation around how you can leverage the IO to do that. And one feature that's often forgotten, well, there's 2, I'm going to say 2 of them. As you open this up and look inside the housing, a lot of wiring space, there's cable tie downs, there's a lot of conduit access points. We've tried to think through that process. And in the lower left corner, 5-year warranty. All of our products we back with a industry-leading warranty. And these are things that really make a difference in our partners running their business. I might have forgotten things, but that's my little round table, Lauren. Anything I missed?
Well, not that I heard of, but as we go forward here, there might be some other things that are of interest to people as we take a look under the hood. Dave pointed out there's a lot of space inside of the housing here for cable ties and other things in there. So that's great. One thing I will point out is that the communicator currently is housed in a plastic enclosure. We found that to be compliant with most AHJs, but there may be some out there around the country that require a metal can. Dave, do we have plans of releasing a BAT-Fire in a metal housing?
Yeah, I mean, we've had that as something we look to get done, and again, we're kind of waiting for some feedback on it. I think there's 2 things. There's the metal housing, and there will be situations where people are going to want to have one that has a power supply. you're likely to see that included in the variant that we would put inside a metal housing. Nothing we're going to have in the next, month or quarter, but, as we get through the course of 2022, I think towards the tail end, you'll end up seeing a metal can variant. When we do that, it's going to have ample room for its own backup battery. We'd look to have its own power supply. Other than that, it'll have the same features and functions and capabilities where we can have cellular and Ethernet on every unit. And again, those are enabled or disabled when you register the device. So you can still have a sole path communicator, even though it has dual path on it. And the service rates will be adjusted accordingly, depending on how you get that configured and installed. So these are some of the flexibility items that we build into our platform as we roll it forward.
Yeah, we'll show those service rates in just a moment, but if you are watching and you are in an area where your AHJs are requiring a metal enclosure, let us know. I'm going to share my email address, Dave's email address here at the end of the presentation. Let us know if you're in an AHJ that requires that. We want to hear from you to know how important it is that we put that model out. Last thing I'll point out, well, two more things I'll point out here. When it comes to communicating with central stations, BAT-Fire is compatible with 3 different models of the Bosch Kinetics receivers. That's important to note. Make sure that you check with your central station providers to make sure they're equipped to support BAT-Fire. And then the final note is we have two models of BAT-Fire, one that's a Verizon version and one that is AT&T. The Verizon model is available today. The AT&T model should be out within the next, 3 to 4 weeks, Dave?
Yeah, we just heard back. It looks like the last few tests were done. The paperwork's getting in place, and I tell you, the next batch we're building, we plan on building AT&T models. So February is a very safe date. I'd say the first half of February we should start to see those going out the door.
So if you're a dealer operating in Canada, hopefully we will have AT&T models up your way within the next 30 days. Dave, you're biased, of course. Try to be objective if you can here for a moment. Why should an alarm system integrator be considering, or why should they be installing BAT-Fire?
Well, we've kind of layered in some of the reasons I would state, but I mean, we're based right here in the U.S. I'm in St. Paul, Minneapolis-St. Paul area, up in the frozen tundra. It's pretty cold this week. We have a large group of people down in the Houston area, and we have a proven background coming from this industry. The people that are walking the halls here have designed and built a lot of different security systems in the market, a lot of different security products, some of the early innovators in wireless technologies and cellular communications and in broadband connectivity. So if you want a company that has expertise, continues to innovate, continues to invest, and continues to grow, and can deliver these types of services, Alula is the company that can do it. Everything we do, again, we mentioned alarm transmissions go from BAT-Fire directly to these Bosch receivers. Most of the centrals, we have a growing list, have those installed already. And that's a good, reliable, supervised communication path. Everything in our platform is hosted and run right here in the US, and all of it is designed right inside the North America here. So I think the expertise, the innovation, the reliability, and the proven track record are all good reasons to build, especially in the fire community, your services around Alula as a partner.
That all resonates well. BAT-Fire has a suggested dealer price of $174.50. We do not dictate the final price charged by our distribution partners, but we do provide an MSDP, manufacturer suggested dealer price, to help them understand where we believe it should be priced for alarm dealers. Pricing on alarm communication services varies depending on the communication path and the polling or the supervision rate. Dave, what causes such variation across the different communication paths?
I mean, as you mentioned, it is the supervision rate. We maintain connectivity. When these are installed, they're set up for a primary receiver, a secondary receiver, and up to 2 different communication paths out of that device. And we work to supervise these at various rates. This will vary as you get into Canada. Canada has some different rules on what the supervision is versus US markets. We have met and passed testing for both of those. So the big driver is, are you going to run an Ethernet cable to this in addition to cellular? Or are you going to go over a single path? And then how often do you want us to check in to make sure that that device is connected and is transmitting signals directly to the central station? That drives data usage, that drives cost, but it also drives, I'll just say, the services necessary for you to get your AHJ sign off. The models and service plans we have here, you're going to recognize these. These are very common in the marketplace. Whatever you're installing or have been installing to date, you can likely find the service path plan that's equivalent on our list from what you've had before. And I think what you're going to find is we are going to be more affordable than what you've been putting out in the marketplace. But we are not backing down from our warranty and from our reliability and performance overall. So I think you get high reliability at a very competitive price point.
That's good things to note. And it's good to see so many different options depending on the region of the country that you live in, your AHJ requirements for commercial fire. So
one thing I neglected to mention, Warren, I apologize, if you go back to that chart, we were certified under the 10th edition of UL 864 of the NFPA rules, the 10th edition, which not many communicators have actually gone through that, but we have configurations and service plans for NFPA 2007, 2010, and others. We recognize that you're going to be dealing with sunset. You're probably dealing with an installation that was done years ago. We can meet the supervision requirements and give you the flexibility to program it to those levels as you install it. But by default, we will follow the 10th edition rules.
And the 10th edition is the most recent edition, right?
Correct. Correct.
Okay, good. So some good news for dealers that are interested in trying BAT-Fire, or if you've already started, we offer a $99 service credit on all of our communicators. Not just BAT-Fire, but this is applicable to BAT-Connect, Connect-XT. Connect-XT, if you didn't know, works with the Simon XT lineup of panels from Interlogix or GE Security. This $99 service credit is also available on our Connect Plus panels and kits. When you take the $99 into consideration, BAT-Fire has a net price that's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $75. That's a very aggressive price point, Dave. Any early feedback from dealers that have seen this promotion that you've heard from?
Especially when you can apply it not only to BAT-Fire, but to other products and panels and installations. We recognize that sunsets are a challenge for everybody, and I guess we're listening. We're putting tools in place that allow you to continue servicing your customers without getting underwater. So the feedback is nothing but positive, and I think the ability to enroll these devices under the service program has been made very simple as well. In the fire community, if you go back on that the cost per month, you can generally earn that credit back in a very short period of time. If you're at one of the rates that's $10, $12 a month, obviously within a year you've got your $99 back. So a very attractive program in the fire community, but I think across the board people are appreciative.
Yeah, $75 for a dual path communicator, that's very aggressive. And anytime I see a deal that's this good and I see that little asterisk next to the price point, I'm always wondering what's the catch. So thought we'd share the fine print here with all of you. This is it. Dealers need to sign up for the promotion that is done at alula.com/service-credit, alula.com/service credit. The $99 credit is applied when a device is activated on the Alula network. You must select $99 service credit when you enroll the device. The service credit is available to all alarm dealers that are paying MSDP, silver, or gold pricing. It is not available on devices that are purchased under a special pricing agreement or an SPR. The credit will not exceed $99 or 18 months, whichever comes first. And then finally, there is an early termination fee of $25 for devices that are taken out of service prior to 36 or 24 months. In this case with BAT-Fire, it's 24 months that is applicable. So again, I don't know many dealers that would go and install a communicator in a building expecting to take it out in less than 2 years. So I think I don't think we expect many people to be paying that early termination fee. So, Dave, anything else that you'd like to cover here on this special promotion or anything BAT-Fire related before we jump into our own questions?
I just love the fact that you took the fine print and made it in nice big font so everybody could see it. So I appreciate that. And again, I've heard nothing but good things, and most of our partners are embracing this as a way to not only address the sunset, but really to manage costs for all new installations. It's a new competitive environment out there. It's a new world for technology. Inflation is happening to us all on all of our products, and if we can provide a couple of pieces that help you remain competitive and have a solid business, we're happy to do so.
Yeah, it's a good point. We talk about this so much in relation to the sunset, but in reality, there's hundreds of thousands of fire alarm control panels installed every year. And if you need a communicator for a fire alarm control panel, this is the product that you should be using. Let's go to some of the questions that we've heard frequently over the last month or so since we've introduced this product, and address those here. And then again, if you do have questions that we don't cover here, please type those into the questions section, or I should say into the chat section, and we'll try to get to those. But Dave, why don't you take us through some of these, starting with this first one. Where can I buy BAT-Fire? I checked with my distributors. They don't have any in stock. What's going on?
Well, there has been a lot of demand for the product. If you're in Canada, we haven't shipped any units up into Canada yet, but as you heard earlier, we will be doing so shortly. Those are our AT&T models. In the US, we work with all of the major national and regional distributors. You'd be hard pressed to find a distributor for professional security dealers and integrators that don't carry the Alula Communicator product line. So whoever you're using, look for it, they'll be carrying the product. We are in a situation as we launch this, I tell you, we launched it into the market at the tail end of last year, and there was very high demand. It was going out, getting on the shelves. We have new orders that'll be going out again as I think this week, where we've got another batch that are going out. Look for it on the shelves. If you don't see it there, talk to your branch manager. They'll work with Alula and make sure we get the product out to the location you need to. On the second question there, Warren, you mentioned earlier, we work with the Bosch receiver products. Those are widely available in distribution if you happen to have your own central station and don't have one. We also have an agreement with Bosch. We can make those available to you as well. But most central stations, especially third party, already have them. And the nice thing about this, it's a proven piece of equipment that the central stations have been using for years, and signals go directly to that from the communicator, which is unique compared to a lot of other offerings out there. So, and then in terms of the FACPs, we work with anything with contact ID, or if you don't have contact ID or don't have a dialer, again, we have the programmable IO for point capture. So you'd be hard pressed to find an installation we couldn't support with this, but the most natural, powered off of the FACP, off of the power supply there, and as part of the whole battery calcs, and then connected up to the phone lines off of the panel is the most common installation.
Okay, good deal. A few more questions here. Can BAT-Fire be configured remotely through Alula Connect? And what about firmware upgrades?
This is a good one. Yeah, so first off, Alula Connect is used to configure all of our devices, and BAT-Fire is no exception to that. We've made it very simple in terms of, selecting, do you want UL or ULC? Are you including commercial Berg? And it will automatically default the supervisions based on the latest edition and based on the settings that you chose. You can override those, and you can edit them to be, compliant with 2007, 2010, or any other rules, but we make it nice and easy and consistent from a configuration standpoint. For firmware upgrades, all of our products do automatic firmware upgrades. It's part of our service plan, and every system, every security panel we put out, every communicator we put out, will check in for firmware updates every day. Anybody here that's in the fire world knows that that can't automatically happen because if you're going to make any configuration changes, the UL rules are going to require somebody to be on site to make those configuration changes, but we can facilitate firmware upgrades. We will only do so with firmware that has gone through, UL testing as well. So yes, that's what you use, and we can definitely cover that, and you will get new features and firmware upgrades as they become available.
All right, is there a special power supply for BAT-Fire if I don't want to or I can't power it from the control panel? You mentioned that there was earlier in this webinar, but there is, and we've got it listed right here.
Yeah, they have the AL300, there's an AL400, anything that's UL864 listed, you could get configured up. We've actually got some diagrams associated with these particular power supplies, the Ultronics models that you could use, and we can at least help identify how to get those wired in properly.
And then the last question here, AT&T model, we've answered it a couple times, but just in case you missed it, end of February is when we anticipate those being in distribution, ready for purchase.
And I know a lot of people are fighting the AT&T shutdown, which is happening sooner than Verizon. So look for those on the shelves shortly.
Yeah. One question that's not on the slide here, but it's one that I got late last week, Dave. California State Fire Marshal. Is that something that we're working on for our dealers that serve the California community, and when will we have that?
Yeah, both CSFM, California, and New York have kind of their own special policies to go through. We're actively engaged in that process and responding. It's rare that you run into a situation where there's any hurdles in meeting it. It's mostly just getting into the queue. We entered as soon as we got our UL certification, and the word this morning, we've got some good dialogue going back and forth with CSFM, with California. We're hoping to have that one wrapped up here again in February. I'm hoping the first half of February. New York, I'm waiting for an update on, but again, that should run fairly quickly here. I think they had a little bit longer queue of other devices in front of us, and the pandemic is unfortunately slowing some things down with a little surge, some people not in the office, which I think is creating some longer delays than normal, but hopefully we'll see that happen real shortly here.
Good point. And last question for you is, when will this pandemic be over? No, just kidding. No, it's good for our dealers that do service California and New York. We're trying to get that taken care of as soon as possible so that you can start installing BAT-Fire in those applications. It's great. Dave, thanks for joining me today. As always, it's a pleasure to cover these webinars with you. You're a smart guy. You've been in the industry for a long time and always have a lot of answers. For our attendees, if there are things that piqued your interest during this session, we'd love to speak with you. Mine and Dave's email addresses will be shown on the next slide. If a question comes up after the webinar, feel free to reach out to either one of us. And we're going to take some time now to address questions that have come in while we've been doing this. Let's go through some of these. Dave, the first question, just finished or almost finished deploying my first BAT-Fire, and I'm getting a communications trouble and restore every 35 minutes. How do I fix that? What might be going on there with Larry's system?
Communication trouble and restore. What I suspect, there's a process to go through to actually do an exchange with the Bosch receivers. Everything is encrypted in the communication path between the communicator and the receiver, and there's a piece of data, I'll call it an account number, I think we call it the NMC, I can't remember exactly, that is a data exchange. And you could run into a situation where if that is not configured properly before trying to send the data down to the fire communicator, that it will continue to try and then ultimately reset. So I suspect that's the case, Larry. work with our tech support. That's something, this is part of the early training. You know, we've got things documented. We try to provide these materials. Nothing beats speaking with a person. So I'd suggest calling into tech support. And when you describe this, I think they're going to be able to point you down a path that's going to not only fix this, but prevent it from happening on any other installations that you run across.
Okay. A question from Tom. Supervision time. Can we choose 5 minutes or 60 minutes? Is that selectable?
Yes, it is selectable. We will default it to meet whatever, again, whatever UL installation, if it's sole path, dual path, and you know, what you want to be compliant with, but you can override those numbers and move that down. And in Canada, and for commercial intrusion, actually, they have some of the tightest supervision timings out there. Both of those down, I think, under 200-second range, which we will support as well.
Okay. Let's see. A comment here from Jennifer. One thing that I run into frequently as of late, we have had issues with techs registering Alula's wrong. The Alula's wrong, so we are trying to take an Alula that was already registered to another company and not able to reset the Alula. I always have to install a new Alula. Why can't I reset them and re-register it?
Okay, it sounds like there's one installed associated with an account and they're trying to move it to another account. Yeah. There are a couple, this is another one where I think I can point you to, shoot me an email. I think I can point you to a frequently asked question or a document that will guide you through the way, a way that you can take a device off of an account and then reassign it without having to do some extra steps. So what this really comes down to is all of our devices are ultimately linked to a specific account. And I think what's being described here is not fully unlinking it from the previous account, which makes it hard to register on the new one. But we can step you through that.
Yeah, we've got Jennifer's contact information, so we can reach out to her via email after with more details. Is it surface mount as well as a surface back box?
The BAT-Fire right now is surface mount. It does have conduit openings in the back and on all sides, at least 3 of the sides. I can't remember. I think the 2 sides and the bottom and the back. So you can mount it on, electrical box and bring the wiring in from the back. But generally it's built for surface mount, not a recess mount at this point. As we look at metal can variants that we talked about earlier, we'll look at other mounting configurations for those as well.
Okay, great. Jennifer has another question here. Can we get a copy of the PowerPoint? We'll do even better. We'll make this webinar available on our YouTube channel so that you can either watch the PowerPoint again, share it with other people around the office, or Jennifer, if you specifically want a copy of just the slides, we can get those to you. Is it New York City approved?
That's coming.
Should have it in the not too distant future. Let's see.
By the way, we'll post some of this. Look at our website. We'll keep updates on some of these as we get CSFM, as we get New York approvals. We'll communicate it out in email. I know, Warren, you and your team are very eager to keep everybody up to date, but we'll have it available in other means as well.
For sure. One person points out here, will you work with us in our central stations to make sure that they're compatible? The answer is yes. Please let us know. Work with your sales rep. Work with your sales technician that's with Alula. We want to make sure that we're getting you and your central stations outfitted so that we can get you these BAT fires up and running. What does BAT stand for? Broadband. What was it? Broadband what?
I think it's actually bidirectional alarm transceiver. Oh. No, broadband alarm transceiver. Broadband alarm
transceiver. There we go. Tom, hopefully that helps.
And then we ended up with a CDMA and an LTE, and now BAT Connect, which is really tied to our Connect Plus family of products. But yeah, broadband alarm transceiver, I think, is what it was originally, meaning 2 directions of communications.
Yeah, that sounds right. That's what we had on that slide. So Gene asks, is Bosch the only compatible central station receiver? I know we had it on that slide. We said that it was. Does it work with any other receivers, Dave?
It is the Bosch transceiver, and a couple of reasons for that. First off, we could only get certified. We mentioned we're certified to the latest 10th edition. A lot of communicators out there are not. And as a result, there's not a lot of receivers that are actually tested against the 10th edition. So, but it's also, we wanted to have a proven IP connected device that was fully encrypted, and that was, widely used and available out in the marketplace. And there are possibilities to have different receiver technologies that could be deployed, but anybody that's been in this industry for a while, trying to get new technologies deployed out in central stations can take some time. We wanted to leverage, a proven, strong brand with a technology that had already gone through the latest certification process. So maybe in the future there'll be other options, but at this point in time, this is our path.
Okay. Well, and it makes sense that's why we're working with that, because it is 10th edition. So good. When the product is available in Canada, where can I buy it? ADI, Annixter? I think the answer to that is both of those.
Yes.
So.
And we have very strong partners up in Canada across the board. Warren, I can't remember if we have a list of all of our distribution partners on the website, but check back with us and we can get you a list. But it will be available to all. And we've already gone through the ULC Canadian certification. It's just the AT&T piece we're waiting on, which is completed here shortly.
Okay.
I would list other distributors, but I don't want to forget some.
Yeah, this question is kind of interesting. It says, will the BAT-Fire only work with Bosch receivers? Question mark. But then it goes on to say, what about others like COPS and CMS? COPS and CMS, those are central stations. And in your experience, Dave, I mean, I know that the product management team has done some research. COPS, CMS. I think the bigger national central stations have this receiver, is what we've been finding. Is that right?
They do, and we have contacts on how to get accounts set up with them, that specifically know that equipment, and CMS, COPS, Rapid, Affiliated, all of the majors are going to be covered with those, and we've done validation on that. If you have your own central station or you're working with a smaller regional, that might be a situation where you run into not having them, but they're, excuse me, they're widely available, and we can also help facilitate getting equipment in if you're unable to find it. So give us a call on that as well.
External antennas. I know these things have external antennas available.
We do.
For that, Dave?
Yeah, we have a couple of different recommended antennas that we've actually tested with. We are bringing those to make them available as accessories to the product. It's an external antenna connector on it right now. We do have one external alternative higher gain external mount. We're coming up with an outdoor mounted antenna, and there's several on the market that you could buy that would be available in distribution that will work with it as well, and we can point you to those part numbers, some not coming from us. So there are definitely options out there. Category M1 runs at a certain frequency band of LTE, so there are certain models that'll work better than others, and we can certainly guide you down the path of which ones are going to work. Or if you have one that you've used in the past, let us know and we can tell you if it'd be effective for the BAT-Fire product.
Great. Next question, service credit applies on monthly charges. So the services that we showed on a slide a few slides back, those are monthly charges. The answer is yes to that. How do we set that up? And that's set up through Alula Connect, and then the billing automatically happens. Is that right, Dave?
When you activate the device, if you've been put into the program, you can put it under the service holiday, and what it will do is, depending on what service plan you put it under, it will deduct that monthly amount until it reaches 99, and then it will start to invoice you at the normal monthly rate, again, depending on your supervision rate. So if you're on a 24-hour supervision, backup plan. I think that one's maybe $9 a month. It's going to, within a year, you're going to earn up your credit. If you're at one of the higher rate plans, you might earn it back in 5 months. So it'll calculate that for you automatically.
So no work to do on their end other than to set it up correctly in Alula Connect, and then it's just going to, deduct, so to speak, the money from that $99 until they hit zero, and then they'll be charged.
You got it.
Okay. All right. Okay, so here, this is a good question. When I activated a unit today in Alula Connect, I did not see the service credit option in the portal. Is there a way I can claim it? How could they go back after the fact and do that? And is the $99 service credit in there yet, or do they still need to be selecting the sunset plan option?
What probably happened here, Warren, is you gave the website to go to, Alula/service-credit. I don't remember. We should look at what exactly it was, where you asked to be put into the program. Once you're in, that'll be one of the drop downs when you activate the device to say, I want to have this put into the service credit. So my suspicion here is you hadn't filled out that form to be put into the program. We can work with you to address the installation that you had today, but make sure you go to that site and fill it out. And again, it was on one of the earlier slides. I think if you search for it on our website, you'll find it as well.
Yeah, alula.com/service-credit, service credit. So, yeah, so Larry, if we will work with you to get that that panel or the communicator that you activated today, we can get that moved over to the service credit, get that taken care of. Another request for the slides here. Sorry, just going through, see what we have and haven't answered.
Anything we don't get to here, you can reach us. So happy to have follow-on questions come in.
Here's one. Does Alula have now or plans in the future anything on the residential side that can be used with 4-wired smokes?
Yeah, 2 and 4-wire smokes. So today we have our own control panel, Connect Plus. It's a wireless control panel. It can take hardwired inputs through what we've internally called a translator device, hardwire to wireless translator. And you can get up to 96 zones, and we have wireless smokes. We do not today support 2 or 4-wire smokes. Will that change in the future? Yes. I'll say yes, we will have some new products coming out looking, I'll call it 2023, tail end of this year and into the middle part of next year. You're going to see several new products in the Alula family. And some of those products will address hardwired smokes and a variety of other interesting things that we've been hearing from our customers. So stay tuned, but it probably will be next year before you're going to see that.
Question, where can I download the BAT-Fire manual? We have our manuals and our marketing materials on alula.com/BAT-Fire. That is the product page, alula.com/BAT-Fire. You'll be able to see the product sheet, and a few of the different manuals, configuration guides are loaded there on that website. Question here, will there be interactive features available when connected to a combination Firebird panel such as the Vista 32 FB?
Yeah, this product is really tailored towards alarm signal transmission. Again, dual path alarm signal transmission, less around the interactive controls. For interactive on a hardwire panel, we'd put BAT Connect in, and then you get a full interactive app with real-time, connectivity and notifications on there. And I'm quite certain take down who this is. I want to validate this, but I'm quite certain it'd be very possible you could put a BAT connect on the bus of that panel and a BAT fire on the alarm signal side of it. I want to verify that, but because BAT fire is not connected up to the bus at all, there'd be two devices registered, but one could be for full interactive control and one could be for alarm signals. So something to think about. I'll follow up with whoever this is after to verify what I said is true. I'm not intentionally lying, but I might be stretching it a little bit here.
David, so I've made a note here. I assigned it to you, so you'll have that after.
Okay.
Another person just wanting to clarify, make certain that they understand this. This product will not work with SureGuard receivers. And the answer to that is it's correct. It will not work with SureGuard receivers today. And Dave, I don't know that it will in the future.
I'd be totally open to it. I talked to my counterparts over at, they're part of Johnson Controls, which has Qualsys and DSC and all these other products. That's where SureGuard comes from. Wasn't it, you know, I'll entertain a conversation with them. I'd love to talk to that at some point, but nothing in the near term. And we'd have to go through another UL cycle on that as we make any changes on that, because they test things, not just the product, they test the end to end. And so, you know, there'd be another cycle. So nothing that's going to happen soon, but certainly I'm open to the conversation. And if you have contacts over there, point in my direction, I'd be happy to engage.
How about the mobile app? Can I use the mobile app on BAT-Fire? Very similar to a question we had two questions ago.
Yeah, you know, as we launched this, the answer is no. We don't really have a mobile app for this. There's not a lot of interactive controls you do with the fire signaling side. You will get all signals in Alula Connect. You're going to be able to see all the, you know, alarms that were relayed, but the alarm signals are going directly to the receiver at the central station. We get a mirror image of it on our platform, so you're going to be able to see everything that happens there. But again, alarm signaling is going direct and no interactive controls at this point in time. As we start to expand and look at different ways, there are things we intend to do with our fire communicator down the road, which might include an app that might help out, whether it's for the service provider, the building owner, or first responders, but nothing out of the gate right now in terms of interactive controls.
Next one is from John. Does this unit use the same cellular technology as the BAT Connect? Can I expect the same signal results? I love the BAT Connect. So John, thanks for the love. Appreciate that. Dave, it is the same cell technology, isn't it?
Same radio, same cell technology. So the answer to that is yes. And I appreciate the love as well, and I look forward to feedback from you on this product as you get them deployed.
If the communicator lost communication and the fire alarm had a problem, will this send stored messages when it reestablishes communication by default?
So I'm gonna answer something that wasn't asked. If we lose communications, in order to pass UL, you have to be able to report that back to the FACP. So we will indicate a trouble condition on the FACP for any loss of connectivity. In terms of stored signals, we are relaying the signals coming off of the FACP. And if there's a fail in communication of those, which would be the case here, I'm almost certain the FACP will be sending those signals forward. We aren't inherently storing them. We are a mirror of what's coming off of the FACP. But I'm going to do some checking on that. I'm afraid to answer, Warren, because I don't want to misguide things, but I'm quite certain the FACP will continue to retry for a period of time under those conditions.
Okay. Question here, who is responsible for the $25 early termination fee, the customer or the dealer? As it relates to Alula, it's the dealer. Right. And the dealer can apply an early termination fee to the customer, the end user, right?
Right. We never deal with the end user. It's only with our partner, with the dealer. So that's where the transaction occurs. How that's factored into your service pricing, you can figure out. I honestly don't see a cancellation of a fire communicator. You know, it's a different world maybe in the residential side. But even there, the product can be reapplied to a different installation. It's tied to the device, not to the customer. So if the Alula building here had a fire communicator and we didn't need it anymore, you can move that product to the building down the road and not be subject to any of the termination fees. It's not tied to the customer. It just keeps that product in service.
Okay. Will it have the same reporting as the BAT Connect on events?
It has similar reporting. So again, first off, signals are going directly from the communicator to the central station. Those are going to be the contact ID codes coming off the FACP. All of those signals go to the central station. They're going to be reflected in Alula Connect as well. So you'll see what alarm signals were sent, if there's trouble conditions, loss of connectivity, all of those things. We don't get specific zone information and some of the other detailed information that you get on a BAT Connect when we're connected up to the bus. Our focus is really on connectivity and alarm signals only in this case.
Okay. Any issues with availability due to chip shortages? They're paying attention to all the other supply chain issues that are many of our dealers are dealing with right now.
Yeah, supply chain has been a challenge. It continues to be a bit of a challenge. We're coming out of it now. We're actually in a good spot from a parts availability standpoint on all of our communicators and all of our core products, BAT Fire included. We did have a good run right out of the gate on BAT Fire, and people loaded up, and we're seeing them light up. I think we launched this around December timeframe is when we got UL. Is that right, Warren? I'm losing track now. Mm-hmm. We've ramped up production based on the early surge and plenty of parts to keep that rolling. So I don't anticipate any prolonged outages. If anything, it's just going to be little hiccups here and there.
Here's a quick note from Security Central of North Carolina. We gladly support Alula and the Bosch receivers. So thank you, Security Central of North Carolina. We appreciate the love there. We're going to wrap. We're up against the hour, but we appreciate all of the engagement, everyone who listened and participated today. We've got a number of questions that we weren't able to get to. We will address those with the team and get responses out via email to those that ask these questions that we haven't had a chance to answer. So, Dave, thanks again for joining me. It's been a pleasure. And for all of you Alula pros out there, thanks for your partnership. We really appreciate your business. Take care.
Hey, thanks, everybody.